got it?
You're live.
We are live. It's the Coach Scott Field Show right here from Brave Haven Studios in beautiful Murray, Utah. Coach, or Bob, how are you doing back there, buddy?
Well, I'm doing okay now that I'm here, finally.
Hey,
here. A bit of mayhem going on in the valley tonight.
Hey, listen.
Plus birthday parties and everything else. So happy birthday to my granddaughter.
Oh, if you don't give that shout out, you're going to be in big trouble. So I'm glad you got that in there.
Yeah, I'd be in a little deep water.
Well, let's not do that. Hey, here we are. It is Monday, August the 11th. It is Season 1, Segment 18, Bob. We are on Segment 18.
That's right. 18 shows.
This is number 18 we've done.
Yeah.
Isn't it awesome?
Yeah, it is. I can't believe we're still here.
Exactly. Unbelievable. Hey, we had a little bit later start. We did. We knew that last week we took some time off, and we kind of knew that, but we had a few little hiccups. Some stuff that was uncontrollable to us. Thank you for your loyalty. Thank you for your viewership, Bob. I noticed when I went on, before I get into a quick monologue, over 11,500 hits now, and some countries this week that came up. We had I don't remember, El Salvador, Ecuador, Philippines, New Guinea, and India.
Oh wow!
Has come on and been a part of the show that we got some hints from. So
that's awesome.
Want to thank them for their viewership. Again, nationally and internationally, we've had a strong viewership, and really appreciative of that. Tonight we've got another great lineup. Coach Jason Glover is going to be a live in-studio guest, and really appreciate him coming in. It's a last-minute kind of thing, but he drove up about 30 miles here tonight, and he's going to be on our show. He's got a great journey he's going to share with you, the viewers, and I'm going to let him share that with you because I do not want to misrepresent him at all. Class act, great basketball knowledge, and we're fortunate to have him come on and be a part of the show. After that, we're going to have Dallas Maverick assistant coach Monty Mathis here live on the Coach Scott Field Show. Just a few things I wanted to touch base on. Last weekend was the Basketball Hall of Fame, Bob, and it was really neat to sit there and listen to the guys' induction speeches. Got to hear Coach Nolan Richardson, who I actually got to spend some time with when I was just one of those assistant coaches at Chipola Junior College. They actually recruited 2 of our players to be with him back when he was winning national championships in '94, and to hear him sit up there and talk, it took me back to 1994 with some of those recruiting stories that we sit there and talk about. But just a great guy, great speaker. Really enjoyed hearing him. Then again, you had the commissioner. He was also inducted to the Hall of Fame after 30 years of great service with the NBA. Alonzo Mourning, Bobby Slick Leonard. Again, I'm an Indiana guy, so I had to have that Hoosier love there with boom, baby.
I love these nicknames. Slick. Bobby Slick.
Slick
Bobby
Leonard.
Slick.
Great guy. Been around the game a lot of years. Matter of fact, I think he's going to come and be part-time with radio for the Pacers next year.
Oh, great.
And I think it's like 48 years that he's been with the Pacers. I mean, it's just an unbelievable number of years. But it's great to have, Slick Leonard in the Hall of Fame. Alonzo Mourning had a great speech, about the kidney ailments and, the perseverance. So I was really moved by the induction speeches from the Hall of Fame and thought it was great. Of course, Kevin Love, all the whispers and rumors, where there's smoke, there's fire. Hey, he's now with Cleveland, with Cleveland and LeBron.
Yeah.
So the new Big 3 in
That'll
Cleveland. So you got Johnny Manziel heating it up for football, and now you got LeBron and Kevin Love coming in for the basketball season. So that's going to be exciting. Paul George.
Oh.
Devastating injury during the USA, tryout games. And it's one of those things. I was actually sitting there watching it with my son and a couple of his friends, and we ordered some pizza, and the boys were sitting there watching that, and it's just one of those freak things. Our hearts and prayers go out to Paul George for a speedy recovery. It's part of the game, and his mental toughness, his perseverance, his work ethic. The doctors that he's going to be blessed to have work with him are going to get him on the mend, and I know that a lot of those injuries are so psychological, but he has the toughness and fortitude that I really do believe that with the strong faith that he's going to bounce back and still, have an outstanding career. Now, it's going to take him a while. I don't know if he'll be back next year, and that's going to be a big hit for the Pacers. And there's a lot of debate going on too now. Oh, should the Team USA players be paid, compensated? The insurance policies. I mean, that's a whole nother debate, a whole nother show, whole nother topic. But Paul George, our thoughts are going out with you for a speedy recovery. I don't want to spend too much time, with the monologue tonight. But just a couple hours before the show, read where, to me, comedic genius. Robin
Yeah.
Williams. We lost him.
Yeah.
So I'm sad to have learned that. Seems like he touched a lot of lives. He was a phenomenal talent. He was always giving. Did a lot of things in the communities and for people in general. So it's just one of those things where you never know what's going on within a person. So
No.
why not take the time to go out of your way to be positive with your thoughts. Be positive, and sincerely, when you pass people, don't just be so self-centered and worry about you. You know what? Take the time to, see somebody. Hey, how you doing today?
Yeah.
And take the, and if you see someone's in pain with their body language or something, say, hey, how can we help you? And I think that's a message that can be kind of delivered, and hopefully people will slow down to take the time, because you never know what someone's personal struggles really
No.
are.
No.
So, God be with him and his family through these tough times. But I can say this, the good Lord gained a great comedian, and I'm sure when we're all done mourning, the good Lord's going to be having some great laughs up there with him. He was a great talent. So, hey, without further ado, I want to say a quick shout out to our sponsors. We're going to take a quick break, and let's get Coach Glover here on the show, because I know there's going to be a lot of people excited to hear his insight and content. So I want to thank Brave Haven Media again, bravehaven.com. You can get a hold of Bob at 801-738-8697. Speaking of that, how's the drone thing working? Have you had it out?
Flight training is going quite well.
Cool. Did you get it out at some of the things that you're doing?
Yeah, I've had it out. I try to fly a little bit every day just
Okay.
to get the repetition in and the time in, and it's pretty amazing, phenomenal stuff.
Are you getting it down?
As far as the image that you can connect.
I could not believe when I went back and saw the last show when you took it over that one apartment complex, the clarity, the pictures, the high. I mean, that is great stuff.
Yeah.
I'm just impressed. So, hey, if you guys are in the need of that type of technology, get a hold of Bob here with bravehaven.com. Again, 801-738-8697. Put the drone to use, huh, buddy?
Absolutely.
Hey, also want to thank Nick Fitzgerald with MetLife, your financial advisor, 801-999-3773. And also, again, Salon Dante. Get a hold of Kim at 572-8812. Let him take care of you. And we also want to thank TeamJMP.com. He does a lot of work with strength and conditioning with athletes here in the Salt Lake Valley, and gets a lot of positive results. So if you're trying to get right physically here in the Salt Lake Valley, give John Madsen a call at TeamJMP.com. Let's take a quick break, and let's get Coach Glover right here on the Coach Scott Field Show. Coach, let's do it. Let's get you on.
So you go to commercials, is that what you do? Or?
Yeah.
He runs a little bit of music, yeah. And then there's a couple things that kind of loop, and then we'll get on here. Coach, you're looking good, man. I should have stepped my game. Bob, I need to start wearing sports coats. We're back with the Coach Scott Field Show, and we are so fortunate to have a buddy of mine that we've crossed paths, and we've got a great fraternity of coaches that we're able to come in contact with, touch base with. You're now up here in the Salt Lake Valley. We crossed paths down in Vegas this summer. I was only down there for like a day and a half, but it was great to see you. Welcome to the Salt Lake Valley.
Well, thank you.
But you've got a great journey. And you're a successful guy with a wealth of knowledge and expertise. And, we've got a strong national and international viewership, Coach. And I would never want to misrepresent you and your journey and the things that you've done. But, I mean, you've spent time in the league. You've been in the WNBA. You've coached in the D League. Those are some spots that a lot of people would aspire to be at. Share with the viewers globally a little bit about your journey, your past, what you're doing now, but just take us through that process, because it's just a great journey and great story.
Well, thanks for having me again, Scott.
Of
I
course.
appreciate it.
Yeah.
And it has been a long journey. This is my 29th year of coaching, and I've loved every minute of it. I started as a high school coach in Las Vegas, and I was very fortunate growing up to have one of my best friends named Danny Tarkanian.
Yeah.
And Danny Tarkanian, we grew up, we played junior high together, and from there on, I was always around UNLV basketball. Coach Tarkanian was, I mean, it was back in the Rebel days. That was, they went to the Final Four in '77. I got to go as a ball boy with that team. And so I was a baseball player all the way through college, but basketball was always my passion.
Yeah.
And so, when I went back, I got a degree in education from Grand Canyon University.
Yeah.
Went back, started teaching. Antelope.
Yeah.
Started teaching in high school in Las Vegas, and started coaching and helping at UNLV and working camps and always volunteering and working with players like Larry Johnson and Stacey Ogman and Greg Anthony and guys like that. And from there, I started my own program, AAU program back in Vegas. And then Dave Rose, who's now the head coach at BYU, he just got his first job at Dixie College. And Dave hired me, offered me a job out of Las Vegas to come help him. And in 3 years at Dixie, we were like 85-12.
Wow.
And really had a great 3-year run. From there, I was offered an opportunity to move to Reno, University of Nevada, with Pat Foster, who's a long-time, excellent basketball coach back in the day, and was a Division I men's coach from '92 to '99. And Coach Foster decided to retire in '99. And from there on, I opened my own basketball academy in Reno. I didn't want to go chase it. I wanted to stay with my family. I've got 2 great boys, 21-year-old, 26. I like to tell them hi if they're watching.
Oh, yeah.
Jason Jordan, who I love dearly, and I wanted to stay and watch them grow up. And I always told my youngest son, I'm not going to leave town until you graduate.
Yeah.
And
I respect that.
The funniest story was his beginning of his senior year is when the Timberwolves called me and offered me a job to move to, and I had to go ask his permission. So I went and asked his permission, said, do you mind if I go to the NBA and coach? And he was like, yeah, Dad, you got to go do your thing.
Good stuff.
So it's been and then like you said, I did 5 years in the D League, 2 years in the WNBA, and now I'm at Utah Valley University, associate head coach, and enjoying that. And I'm sort of vicious circle. I've been all the way around every league in the country and enjoyed. I'm just a gym rat. And enjoy being on the court.
You bet. Well, it's refreshing to hear you share that journey because you're passionate about it. You're very humble about it. But I want to promote and market you because knowing who you are and what you're about, the things that you stand for, just the integrity, how you represent yourself. I think you're just a class act, and it's awesome to see that. And we hope that other coaches that view this, can learn for how selfless that you've been. You were there for family, and I think that's things that need to be repeated. But talking about some of the times in the D League, I mean, we've seen so much growth and development with that D League now. I believe you spent time with the Reno Bighorns. What was that experience like working with those players, trying to develop them to get them to their dream? Because it's almost like being a junior college coach in college to get to Division I level. Now you're taking these guys to another level where they're trying to find their market value. Whether they're going to compete overseas. What was it like working in Reno after with that D League team?
The D League is a great environment. You've got guys aspiring to get to the NBA. You have guys that are in the NBA that aren't getting playing time, that are coming down for development work. My first, I was assistant coach to Jay Humphries, former Jazz star Jay Humphries. And I learned so much. And Jay was with Mike D'Antoni with the Phoenix Suns, and he brought that system to Reno. And I was a college coach for a long time. I thought I knew a lot of basketball. And when Jay came in, and we laugh about it to this day, and it's like I learned so much basketball. But I got to work with guys like Patrick Ewing Jr., still one of my favorite guys in the D League. He was trying to get to the NBA. He was trying to be like his father. He was a great player. He was an undersized 4-man. Didn't quite get to the league, but great guy. We're still very close. There's guys in the D League that are, it's the best league in the world next to the NBA.
Without a doubt.
It really is. You got 19 teams now in the D League, and I have to shout out to Chris Alpert, who's the president or vice president of the league, and he does such a great job putting the players and coaches in positions to succeed. And
that's right.
The D League is just a great league, and I miss it.
Yeah.
I miss the time because it's all about development.
Yeah.
And that's what I pride myself on,
That's
as being
right.
a development coach.
That's right.
And so it was a great journey.
Yeah, well, and you know what? And they've done a great job. And now, of course, they're a single affiliate with Sacramento, and they've done a great job with that franchise. And I know that you were part of that process to get it to where it's at today. So, congratulations on that success. And then you mentioned you got to go to Tulsa with the WNBA. Okay, what was the difference? I mean, it's basketball, and people ask me that a lot. Coach, would you ever consider coaching, female? Hey, you know what? It's just basketball. So,
Yeah.
But what was that experience like being in Tulsa, being in the WNBA now, professional basketball from a different perspective, but still, it's basketball. How did you enjoy that experience?
I thought the WNBA was terrific. I was really shocked, and I'm honest to say this, I was shocked how good those girls are.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they are. Candace Parker, Tamika Catchings, Maya Moore, and then Dinah Taurasi is the female version of Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
I mean, she's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And a friend of mine, Gary Kloppenberg, who was in the NBA,
Yeah.
he got offered the head coaching job in Tulsa, and offered me, because their season is from when is their season? It's summertime.
Yeah,
It's
right.
They actually finish next week.
Right.
So they're there when they're doing baseball season. So I was off season. He invited me to come help him out, and it was 2 years that I really enjoyed. I mean, I got to coach Skylar Diggins, who worked
Right.
extremely hard, and I mean, this year she was an all-star.
Yeah.
Glory Johnson, who was a two-time all-star, worked with her very closely. One of my biggest thrills, Raquana Williams, who now she scored 51 last year in our last game of the year, and she stays in touch with me. She thanks me for, she really gives me a lot of the credit for her scoring 51 points, which I had nothing to do with that. but you know what? It was just a great group of girls, and the teaching part of it. Like I said before, I love to teach the game. I like to be on the court, and the WNBA is all about teaching.
Well, and again, it's about development, and they're hardworking, they're coachable, they're going to soak it up like sponges, and guys like yourself who enjoy being on the court, putting in the hours, being the gym rat, helping those players develop. It's a niche, and it's a skill set as a coach, and to spend that time to help them, take their game and get a go-to move or a counter move, that helps their market value,
Absolutely.
and it takes their game to another level, and I think you're phenomenal at it, and it's going to be interesting to see, because the good Lord always puts us on a path, and we never know what that's going to be. But I could see you being back in that realm soon, and let's hope that it works out for you quickly. I know you're in Utah Valley right now, down there working with that program. It's a beautiful college campus. I mean, they're growing. Tell us a little bit about that basketball program now.
Well, Utah Valley University is in Orem, Utah.
Yeah.
And, I mean, it's one of the prettiest places on earth. Just joined the WAC conference, the Western Athletic Conference, a year ago. And Coach Kathy Nixon, who's our head coach, has been there. This will be her 20th year.
Wow.
She had called me. She lost her top assistant to BYU. And she said, hey, Jason, will you come help me out? And I was, I thought about it for a little bit. I go, you know what? I mean, another chance to be on the court,
That's
to
right.
impact and work with kids. And it's been, I've been there now 11 months and enjoyed every day of it. And I mean, the girl, coaching girls basketball, like I said, it's still basketball.
That's right.
But these girls are so appreciative, and they work extremely hard. And I've enjoyed it. Like I said, I've been NBA to AAU to high school, and it's just being on the court. I don't
There
care
you
if
go.
there's 10,000 or 10 people in the gym. It's just fun, and it's a great profession. I mean, we never worked a day in our lives.
Yeah, there you
I mean,
go.
And
Yeah.
here we are doing this, and we've never really worked a day in our lives. So we've been very, very fortunate.
Yeah.
And I'm very blessed.
Well, what were some of the life lessons that you've learned along the way from some of your mentors and guys that you looked up to when you were coming through the ranks, and what lessons did you take from them?
You know what? I was very humbled when I got to Minnesota. You had a staff. The head coach was Kurt Rambis,
That's right.
Bill Lambier, Reggie Theus, Dave Wall, J.B. Bickerstaff, and then me. And I'm sitting there looking and going, wow. I mean, you got some Hall of Fame guys here. you know, almost like, what am I doing here? and it was just a great experience. And I told this story earlier, but you know, Reggie Theus was an idol of mine growing up in Las Vegas when he played at UNLV for Tark. And to be able to years later go coach with him and work with him, and he's become a very dear friend of mine, and we're very close. And it's just humbling to be around that and to learn. And I've been extremely blessed.
Yeah, well, I think it's neat because, again, we are very fortunate and blessed to be in such a great fraternity of guys, because there's a lot of really classy guys in our profession who do what we do. And, you know, when you lead with your heart and, you know, you put your heart into it, you're not going to BS the players. I mean, you can sit there and talk with them, but they know when you're sincere and you're leading by example, they're going to follow that lead. And I know that's why, you know, UVU is very fortunate to have you. And I'm glad you're in the Valley. We'll be able to spend a little bit of time together.
Absolutely, you know? Definitely. I'm glad I finally made it up, and you invited me up. And anytime you need me, I'm here.
Well, I really appreciate that. Do you have any nuggets for other aspiring coaches that are out there around the globe that are trying to aspire to get to certain levels? What advice would you give them as they're, you know, climbing the ladder, the corporate ladder, as they want to say? I mean, it doesn't matter because, like you say, you've coached at the high school level, you've been at the NBA level, you've been AAU, you've done WNBA, so you've been at a plethora of different spots, have a wealth of knowledge. What advice would you give those guys, you know, trying to, you know, make their moves and do what they want to do and meet their aspirations, I guess?
And I told my son this because my son wants to be a coach. He's 21. He's graduating in a year and a half. But go learn. I still, to this day, I'll go to AAU practices, high school practices, pro practices. I'll go watch Thibodeau practice with Chicago. Go watch other coaches work.
That's right.
Go learn a philosophy. Go make a, you know, get your and go learn different things from different people.
Yeah.
And the second part of that is the networking part. And as you know, networking is so important, and it's so tough to be able to network and meet. But you got to be in, you know, Las Vegas Summer League, for example. We always laugh about. We're down there shaking hands and talking to people. And it's a big network opportunity. But you know, I've been fortunate to be around good people and learn. And that's the biggest thing I tell young coaches is don't have an ego. You know, go into every practice. You know, even coaches that don't know as much as you do, you can learn something from.
That's right. Yeah, maybe it's something that you know won't work for you and your philosophy, but you can always pick. I mean, we're all pirates. We all steal from each other.
Absolutely. Exactly. We didn't invent the game.
Yeah, that's right.
And you know, so anything you can learn and to better yourself, to gain knowledge. I mean, basketball is about knowledge and networking.
Yeah.
And hard work.
Sure.
You know, you got to be in it for the right reasons.
Yeah.
You know, not everybody gets to the college level or the NBA level or the WNBA level. You got to be happy just working with kids, teaching, communicating. You got to have communication skills, teaching skills. I mean, those are all. You know, I had a degree in education, and both my parents were educators, and so teaching came natural, and that's something I love to do.
Yeah.
I just love to teach. So those are just a few things.
I think the coaches that spend the time and do the teaching, you know, like your Larry Browns, who have had success at the college level, you know, success in the NBA level, is because they stuck to the teaching. Your more successful coaches who spend the time to teach and the repetition and, like you say, the development, that's what it's all about. But building those authentic relationships as you're networking, that is truly the key, and I'm glad you're here to reinforce those types of things. Is there any certain thing, because again, you've traveled the nation, you get to watch a lot of players, there's a lot of players that will be watching this, and even internationally. What advice would you give to players? You know, because now you're in a position where you're recruiting. Well, professional recruiting is more, you know, free agency, and, you know, you got agents, but, you know, you're going to AAU tournaments nationally, you're watching players. What things are you looking for when you go into a gymnasium and maybe you got one, you know, the coach says, okay, hey, give this person a look, but maybe someone else stands out to you. What stands out to you on your list when you're writing down things when you're watching players?
You know, as cliche as this sounds, the fundamentals of the game.
Yeah.
I mean, left hand, right hand, you know, using your weak hand, be able to go both ways. So many players nowadays, they grow up with a dominant hand and they just play with their dominant hand. And I was shocked when I got to the NBA. You got the greatest players in the world, but there were still players in the NBA that didn't have the fundamentals.
Yeah.
These guys that are playing 1 year of college and then going in, and they're missing their 3 other years of this development.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest thing I was shocked at is the fundamental part of basketball. You still have to make your free throws. You still have to make your layups. And I mean, we can get fancier as the day goes on with Euro steps and
Oh, yeah.
pump fakes and step throughs and all that.
Yeah.
But before you get to that, you've got to fundamentals. You got to
Yeah.
be able to use both hands. You got to be able to pivot, footwork. You know, I was very fortunate to work with Tim Gergerich, who's considered one of the gurus of
Yes.
teaching basketball, and he was a fundamental teacher. Everything we did with fundamentals, breakdown. And as a coach or a player, you got to have the basics. You know, you got to learn to read or write
That's right.
before you move on.
That's right. It's interesting because I love to hear you say that. You watch, well, we call it big men, but interior players, their footwork. You know, a lot of players don't have great footwork. And even something, as you say, fundamentals, a perimeter player making a post entry pass. How many players do you see that can't make a wraparound pass to feed the post effectively and, you know, do a pinch post move off of that? Yeah, there are techniques, and, you know, the passing and the footwork and shooting.
Yeah.
Shooting, you know, if you can shoot, you can find your place at the next level, no matter where you're at in your career. But to learn those fundamentals, to be around someone like yourself, you know, pick up those, you know, those traits and characteristics. I think it's amazing now. We talk about hard work and work ethic. It's a shame that now we got to say, do they work hard? But it's almost
Right.
working hard is almost a skill set.
Right. It
There's
is.
so much entitlement,
It
and
is.
you have players with those egos. But when you break down the game in detail, if you have a person who has the skill sets, who has decent fundamentals, and if they learn to work hard with that work ethic, it's amazing how far they'll take themselves with that perseverance and mental toughness that they have to get to the next level.
No, you are exactly right. I mean, that's the bottom line of it. And you talk about shooting. Shooting is a lost art nowadays, and it's really sad. We go to the Olympics or we go into these games, and the foreign teams, the European teams, shoot the ball so much better than we do, as a whole.
Right.
And it shouldn't be like that. You know? I mean,
we have great athletes, but
Yep.
then what happens? Isn't it amazing, Coach? The further you get into basketball, the higher levels you go, it exposes your weaknesses.
Absolutely.
Coaches will scout you. They're going to find out that you're not as strong going to your left hand, and they're going to force you to go left, or maybe you're a baseline player, and they're going to force you to go to the paint because you're not strong going to. So it's their jobs to find your weaknesses and attack those weaknesses. So that's why you need to be able to, like you say, use both hands, have the footwork, have the fundamentals, have that base and skill set so that now you can get a go-to move, a counter move. And it's truly amazing when you break it down and just love the purity of the game. And it's fun to sit and just talk basketball with you because, you know, there's nothing new. We're not reinventing the wheel, but if you just keep it simple, because let's just call it like it is. We're able to go out and we go to a lot of gyms across the country. We see AAU coaches, and a lot of times the fundamentals are not being taught. They're just throwing it out there. They're saying, play, let's go, and they're just trying to get the next shoe contract. Teach the game. Teach the players how to play. No, it doesn't matter if they're male, female, black, white, green, purple, orange. It's just the game. You know, it's just a game.
That's exactly right.
It's just a game.
That's exactly right.
Well, Coach, do you have any other specific nuggets or something that you'd like to leave the viewers here? I mean, I wish we had more time to spend with you, and I got to thank you because you came up here last minute for us. We had a conflict with Jay Humphries was going to come and be a part of the show. He just took a job with the Brooklyn Nets with Lionel Hollins out there as a player development. So, Coach, congratulations, and we'll get you back on the show another time. But with that said, do you have another nugget that you want to leave with, whether it's a player type nugget, a coach type nugget, or just a human? What story would you share, or what experience can you share, or what other nugget could you leave our viewers?
You know what? I mean, God, there's so many over all the years. Just hard work and perseverance pay off.
Yeah.
Yeah, as a player or as a coach, you got to work hard. You got to be in it for the right reasons. You got to leave ego at the door.
Yeah.
And work extremely hard. And good things, like I said, you might not get to the NBA, or you might not get, but you know what? Good things will happen to you if you do the right things.
That's exactly right. Well, Coach, I can't thank you enough for coming and being a part of the show. It's
Appreciate
a pleasure to have
you.
Again, I'm glad you're here in the Valley. Hope to get to spend a little bit of time with you from time to time, because it's great to just, talk basketball and share stories. And we were talking about international experiences and stuff before the show, and you were talking about Reggie Theus. And it's just fun to talk basketball,
Absolutely.
So we got to thank Coach for coming, being a part. Follow their program this year. I guess you guys are just getting ready to start school up.
School starts a week from now, and our season will start November 8th.
Well, let's be watching.
Come on up. You're invited.
Well, I appreciate it. There
Coach,
you go.
let me ask the coach a question. How the Wolverines look this year?
We had a great recruiting class. We'll have 5 freshmen coming in, 2 from Vegas. Actually, Ed O'Bannon's daughter. Remember Ed O'Bannon?
Yeah.
The All-American from UCLA, played in the NBA. His daughter's coming from Vegas.
Nice.
We got a recruit from San Diego and the Bay Area. Have some really good kids coming in. I'm excited about it.
Great.
It'll be a lot of fun.
Both men's and women's programs are on the rise, and you guys are doing a great job down there. You guys are doing it for the right reasons, and we wish you the best of luck. So, hey, if you're here locally, get down and support UVU basketball, men's and women's. They got great things going on. There's going to be a lot of passion, and the skill level is going to surprise a lot of people. There's great basketball here in the Valley. So, hey, let's wish him good luck, and let's get him back on the show real soon. So we'll take a quick break, and we're going to get Monty Mathis right here on the show. But, Coach, again, thank you so much, buddy.
All right, appreciate it.
All right, you bet.
Yep.
Back on the Coach Scott Field Show right here from Brave Haven Studios, and what an outstanding live in-studio guest that we have here. When we have the opportunity to have an NBA assistant coach, a WNBA assistant coach, a guy who's coaching at the collegiate level now, to be able to, learn and absorb from that coaching mind and coaching experience, we're very, very fortunate. Coach Glover is an outstanding guy, and was doing a great job at every stop that he's been in, and you heard him talk about the authentic relationships that you're building along the way within this coaching fraternity. We're going to get Coach Monty Mathis of the Dallas Mavericks, an assistant coach there, who is going to be here on the show with us soon, and we're really excited to have him come on. Bob's going to be back there in contact with him, or we'll patch him through live on the show.
Now, let me just ask you a quick question. Is that a 7 or a 4 on here?
That's okay. One of the problems with
I just want to make sure. I don't want to make a call and be talking to Timbuktu.
When did you say 7 or let me see?
Yeah.
there's
On
no
the-
7 in there. So
Okay,
it's
so it
got
must be a
one-
4.
Yeah,
I got it right. I guessed right. Okay.
Okay. What you just found out from the producer is this coach writes like a doctor, and my penmanship is horrible. So we're going to get Monty Mathis on the phone here. Appreciate his patience, for waiting to be a part of the show. We're running a little bit late tonight, but we're really putting this thing together.
Hey, is this Monty?
Yes.
Hey, Monty, this is Bob Fitzgerald, Brave Haven Media. I've got Coach Scott Fields. I'd like to talk with you on the air if that's okay.
Hey, how you doing, Bob? Yeah, I'm ready to go.
All right, Coach, take it away.
Monty, can you hear me, buddy?
Hey, Scott, how's it going?
My man, really want to thank you for your patience. We had a few technical difficulties tonight. We got the show started about 40 minutes late. We just had Coach Jason Glover on the show, and we had a few things we had to patch up. So I apologize for being about 15, 20 minutes late with you. And thank you so much for taking time to be a part of our show tonight, buddy.
Oh, absolutely, no problem. Hey, I was tuned in. I was listening to Coach Glover.
well, Coach, really appreciate you coming on. You've got a great journey yourself, and would love for you to share with our national and international viewers, who Coach Monty Mathis is. You and I have met each other. We've maintained a friendship. Throughout the years, you've done a great job with the Dallas Mavericks. You're able to work with, one of the more dynamic owners in the league with Mark Cuban. You won an NBA championship. You worked with, Dirk Nowitzki, MVP. Tell us a little bit, about, Monty Mathis before coming aboard with the Dallas Mavericks.
Well, Scott, I worked in college basketball for 11 years, and actually prior to that, I coached high school basketball in Cincinnati, Ohio for a couple years during the off season of playing minor league baseball, if you can believe that.
Wow.
So actually, that's how I got into coaching basketball, was high school back in Cincinnati at Woodward High School. A coach by the name of Jim Leon gave me a shot to coach with him as a varsity assistant, and after my minor league playing days were over, I decided to do the camp route and got my first college job with Ron Everhart at McNeese State University.
That's right. Well, Coach, it's a great journey, and I'm so thrilled to see great things happen to good people. And, again, you're one of those guys that's a class act. You've got a great heart. You're a great teacher. You're a gym rat. You put in the time. You're with a great organization right now. What was that like, getting the call, to be a part of the Dallas Mavericks franchise?
It was a great situation. I went from Ohio State for 4 years with Jim O'Brien,
Yeah.
and I went to Xavier for 1 year with Sean Miller, his first year at Xavier, and then that following season is when I decided to join the Dallas Mavericks. It was actually Avery Johnson's first full season as head coach, and my dad, being a former NBA referee for 25 years, knew a couple people, and he knew Del Harris. Del Harris got my foot in the door with Avery Johnson, and next thing you know, I'm down in Dallas as the head video coordinator, coming from a Division I assistant coach, thinking I'm on my way to get a Division I head coaching job, and next thing I know, I'm sitting in the video room about 15 hours a day for 3 hours for Avery Johnson.
That had to be great. Good old Creole gumbo. A great
Absolutely.
teacher. Great
Yeah, went
teacher.
right back down to the bottom of the totem pole again, and just had to work my way back up and learn the NBA and, make my own mark. And, Avery Johnson was great for me. Rick Carlisle has been great for me. Have had a lot of great coaches I got to work under and play under as well.
Well, Coach, what are some of the things that, you've worked with two great head coaches there that have different philosophies, different types of styles. What types of things did you learn from Coach Avery Johnson, even though you were in the video room, spending hours breaking down films, putting things together, as far as technique and making sure guys are sliding to the nail, and of course all the scouting reports that you guys do. But what were some of the things that you took from Avery Johnson that has kind of helped you kind of put your personal philosophy together as you put your resume, putting yourself in a position to be an NBA head coach yourself?
Right. Well, the first and foremost thing I learned was just passion for the game. I haven't been around a guy that has had as much passion for the game as far as working at the game, coaching the game, playing the game, staying at it, 24/7 the way Avery did, just passionate about every single thing he did, whether it was, on the practice court, in the film session, during the games, post-game, pre-game, just, that ability to stay after it day in and day out. And, that was probably the most important thing, and just all of the defense as well with Avery, because when he came to Dallas, they were lacking in a lot of defensive categories, and he put a new stamp on the Dallas Mavericks, and, hey, we're going to start playing defense now, and Dirk, you're going to have to get down in the stance, and we're going to start, learning a lot of the, and he brought a lot of it from San Antonio, from what he learned from Greg Popovich as a player.
That's right.
Throughout his playing career. But, Avery had to struggle as a player 15 years in the league at 5'11". You had to have a lot of passion, and he was a defender as well and a floor leader. So just a lot of things I learned from him.
Yeah. I remember back when they had the Rocky Mountain Review right here in Salt Lake City, and Coach Avery Johnson was out there on the floor, and he was one of the head coaches that spent a lot of time during the NBA Summer League on the floor, and he was teaching, and I remember him talking about, the coverages in defense on the blues and the blacks and the traps, and him getting out there and turning the guys' shoulders to make sure that they had the right angles, and that attention to detail is what I noticed from afar, watching him and observing him coaching, and I'm sure there's tons of nuggets like that you've been able to pick up. And now you're with Coach Rick Carlisle, who had success at Indiana with Coach Larry Bird. He did a great job in Detroit. Has done a fantastic job out there in Dallas, and and putting his stamp on. And what are the types of things that you kind of picked up from Coach Carlisle and his philosophy, and just his coaching demeanor, and he's kind of calm and collected and doesn't really get shook.
Right.
What are some things that you picked up from him?
Yeah, two great coaches, and not completely different styles, but definitely different styles from a head coaching standpoint. Like you said, his calmness and his demeanor, whether it's during games or during practices or film session, not as animated and riled up as, say, Avery would get, but just a great manager of his personnel, his players, his ability to talk with them, his post-game, pre-game, ability to communicate the different things we're going to do and all the things that happen during an NBA season, the ups, the downs, he's just great with all that kind of stuff, and he's an offensive tactician, and there's a lot of things with him that maybe Avery didn't have in his package, but both of them, you can skin the cat a bunch of different ways, and they're both winners, and they both know how to get the best out of their players.
That's right. I think those are some great things that you've shared with our viewers and audience. Tell me, you work with one of the more dynamic owners in the NBA. I mean, he's out there. You always hear stories from the outside looking in about him giving the players the resources to be successful, his ability to market. You look at the Dallas franchise before Mark Cuban was there, and the Dallas franchise, now that he is there. What's it like to be around that energetic owner who has so much passion for the game and the love for his players and the love for his community? You see it, you hear it, you read about it, but what's it like being around all that energy and to have that leadership there?
Oh, it's awesome. I mean, hands down. Now, I've only worked for one professional owner in my life, aside from minor league baseball, but coaching under Mark Cuban, I mean, he's the best owner for professional teams I think there is. I mean, hands down. From the way he handles his players, interacts with his coaches, how he markets the team, how much energy he has and how much passion he has for he's the best fan we have. He takes care of people, he believes in people, he helps you win, he gets you the resources that you need to win. There's not many owners that I can think of that come bebopping into the locker room and they got jeans on and you can high-five them and and you can also have a discussion about personnel with him, and next thing you know, you're eating dinner with him, and you're walking around the streets of New York just hanging out with him. I mean, he's the best. He's absolutely the best.
Yeah, he's a great. Matter of fact, I think he just had a hip replacement surgery, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. I think he's got two new hips now.
Oh, well, let's hope he has a speedy recovery, because you know when November comes around and that season starts, he's going to be out there wearing that T-shirt right there at the end of the bench and being supportive and going crazy. And I can even remember a few years ago that he used to open up his blog, and he liked to get emails and notes and messages from the fans themselves, and he would take the time to interact with the fans on his blog. I know that was a few years ago. Does he still do that?
Yeah, that's a big thing of his. Is he likes to get back to people, whether it's through the Twitter, the blogs, the emails, and he's between me and you, he doesn't have a lot going on, so he can get back to all these people.
Yeah.
But it's amazing, I think how does he do this in only 24 hours a day? But it's amazing, how much he gets done in a day and how many things he has going on. To be able to communicate with so many different people, from his companies to the basketball, to the coaches, to the players, to the fans, to the media. He really amazes me.
Yeah, and plus he's got a successful show in the Shark Tank, so you got to mention that on Shark Week, right?
Oh, exactly. I mean, he's got a lot of things going on.
Yeah, well, he seems to be just an amazing, person with character and charisma, and you got to appreciate that. He just seems like a great guy. Okay, you had NBA MVP Dirk Nowitzki. I was actually coaching over in Germany several years ago. I remember, up in Würzburg, where he comes from, watching his sister play, and I was like, man, this girl can really go. And then seeing Dirk and how he's transformed his career, and the toughness, and Nelly bringing him in years ago through the draft, and to see where he's at these days. It's really fun to see the development, because he kind of changed the stereotypes of what the European players were. He's that face-up shooter, but he's added much more versatility to his game. What's it like being around him on the floor on a daily basis, watching him maintain his high skill level on a daily basis?
Oh, it's really a blessing. It really is. I think about it. We'll be at the end of practice, and we'll be down there, and he'll be one of the last ones to leave practice every single time, and he's down there shooting, and I'll be at the other end, and whether I'm working with him or not, and just watch him, and you're thinking, man, this is, I've been able to coach this guy 9 years, and just what a blessing it is to watch how he goes about things, and why he's a 12-time MVP and MVP, or 12-time All-Star, and one-time MVP, and he's got a championship ring, and the best thing about him, he's a better person than he is a basketball player, and that's what really amazes me. When I watch him on the road at hotels and things, and he's opening doors for janitors or hotel people, or things like that. I mean, you can't say enough good things about him. How he takes care of himself, his body, his mind during the season. Knowing when to not go out, when he can have a little fun. He's a great-witted guy, quick-witted guy, but the hard work and the time that he's put in, and to be able to watch that for 9 years, and hopefully a few more years.
That's right.
It's really been a blessing, because it just gives you everything, it backs up everything about, okay, this is why he is where he is from what I've witnessed.
Yeah, it's great, and again, it's refreshing to hear those types of comments coming from someone who's around him, and the fact that he's opening doors for people, and he's still humble, and he hasn't got a big ego, and he continues to work hard. You mentioned the NBA championship. Too many people want to skip the journey, and an NBA championship truly is a process. You guys were able to be at the pinnacle. You beat the Miami Heat that year. What was it like as a franchise to be within that, to be in the daily grind, to be a team struggling to get into the playoffs? Now you're, a first-round team, a second-round team, and then finally you get the right pieces there. It clicks. You beat a great Miami team. what was the gratification and all that culmination of all that hard work and that process to win that NBA championship? Can you speak on that a little bit?
Yeah, you know, it's funny when you're in the grind of that season and the playoffs, first round, second round, third round, as you well know, in different basketball worlds with people that are making runs through playoffs towards championships, you're so caught up in the grind and you're so locked into the next game and the next year. You don't realize, you can't get a grip of what's really going on until that final buzzer, when you realize, wow, we just won it all. And even after that, you know, it may be 6 months before it really starts to sink in of everything you went through in that journey and all the ups and downs, and losing a starter midway through the season and Caron Butler to a blown knee and thinking, oh boy, is this it? Different guys stepping up at different times. The roster changing through the year, you know, getting Peja Stojakovic partway through the year.
Yeah.
So there's so many things that go on through the journey of getting that championship ring and the ecstatic feeling, you know, when that final horn goes off and you get in that locker room, you know, with the rest of the players. And I've always dreamed about, boy, you know, to feel that champagne flying through the air and it's in the face and guys are jumping around. I tell you, it is the most awesome feeling you'll ever feel, maybe aside from getting married or having children.
Oh, it's got to be one of the most euphoric things, because like you say, you know, these little kids that, you know, start off on the Nerf hoop, jumping around in the hallways, in their bedrooms, dunking, you know, they all do the old backyard countdown, 4, 3, 2, 1, and shooting it. I mean, all those dreams and all that hard work, it all culminates and comes to that pinnacle. It's just got to be euphoric. And thank you so much for, you know, sharing that process and what that was like for, you know, for our global audience. Coach, what are some things that, you know, you would like to share with, you know, other players that, you know, you've seen? You know, you've got the team there in Frisco, and you mentioned, Coach Dale Harris is down there working with that. Nancy Lieberman's a part of it. You know, you've got a great organization, and everybody's on the same page, and you all have the same mission. But, you know, you see these D-League guys that are basically just a bounce away, or just one certain thing that maybe they need to, you know, to work on to get themselves to that next level. What are some things you can share with players who are out there on their journey, you know, trying to get to the highest level possible, trying to up their market value? What can you share with them? You know, we talk a lot about work ethic and, you know, the repetition and the hours that it takes, but, you know, you're in that grind and you see it daily, and you got to be head coach of the Summer League team. What can you share with players trying to get to that level, to be in that position?
I think one of the things that I look at is I don't think guys should get caught up in the numbers as much, the stats, the numbers. And I know agents play a big part of that with their players. Hey, you got to get these numbers in order to get called up and things like that. And I don't believe that. I know there's certain players out there, yes, you're scorers and you need to score. But I tell you that the NBA is lacking in defenders. I really believe that. And guys that can guard and bring hustle, and let's talk about the kid Tucker for Phoenix. There's one reason he's in the league right now.
Yeah.
It's his heart, his determination, all those things that aren't in the stat.
Yeah.
And there's numerous guys like that are in the development leagues that can make a mark and get on a team if they understood that. And it's not all about the numbers. You don't have to score 20 points a game. Guess what? Coming from the D-League, you need to understand that there are already 2 to 3 to 4 great scorers on every NBA team. There's only 30 teams.
Yeah.
Now, what can you bring that can be a really good fringe player? You know, what can you bring? The NBA needs defenders. They need passion. They need hard workers, guys like that. Every team needs them, and every team has 1 or 2 or 3 of them. Yeah. And you can make the roster like that. And I don't think enough guys realize that.
You know, I love hearing that, because if a guy will accept a role to be, you know, a game changer, but bring that energy to, you know, give 4 minutes here, 3 minutes there, to give that starter, you know, just enough of a break so that they can finish out the game. But if they'll be a lockdown defender for 94 feet and pick up pressure and change the tempo, that's where they're going to, you know, that's where they're going to fit in. And getting a player to understand that and accept that, it's truly a mindset and a mentality that, you know, we talk about heart, but it truly is accepting a role, saying, okay, this is how, if this is what I got to do to fit in, why don't we do that? And I would love to hear you say that, Coach. I appreciate you sharing it.
Right. I mean, I really believe that, you know, years ago it used to be the guys that didn't play hard stuck out like a sore thumb.
Yeah.
And I think it's kind of made a reverse nowadays, where the guys that are the ones playing hard are the guys sticking out like a sore thumb, because there's only one or two of them out there, or three of them.
Yeah.
You know, that's why the San Antonio Spurs are such a special team and organization. Every one of those players that they get cares about every single possession, offense and defense.
Yeah.
And they give everything they can. That's why they're so good.
That's right. That's right. And see, I love hearing you say that, because, again, now, Coach, maybe it's going back to your film days and being in the video room, but that's a detail that is such a minute thing, but those little things turn into big things the further you get into your playoff run, because those weaknesses get exposed. And if those players will commit and accept their roles and be selfless to do what's best for the team and not so much for themselves individually, that's where collectively the teams take themselves to another level. And it's always led by example by your star player on the court who brings it every day at practice.
Absolutely. Totally agree.
Yeah. Well, Coach, it's just a pleasure to have you on the show. And, you know, here you are talking about, you know, you were a high school coach. It must be that Midwest connection. I'm an Indiana boy myself. And, you know, hearing you talk about Dell Harris and some great people that, you know, kind of opened the door and gave you an opportunity. I love hearing that stuff. And I'm thrilled to see the success that you had. I hope you had a great vacation with the family, and thanks so much for committing and being a part of our show and sharing the nuggets and the wisdom and the content that you shared with us tonight, my friend.
Well, absolutely, Scott. Anytime, man. I appreciate you having me on.
Well, we need to have you come back on again. And do you have any last statement that you would like to share with the audience about anything that you feel, any message or nugget, that whether it be a coach or a player or just a person? You know, we talk a lot about empowering and educating and growing. You've had a wealth of knowledge and you've been around some great minds, but what nugget would you share with the viewer out there who's listening, maybe trying to get themselves to the next level, or maybe in business or in life? Do you have any kind of nugget you'd like to share with them?
Yeah, I think, you know, everybody's going to say work hard, and we know you got to do that. You got to work smart as well. You know, there's going to be ups and downs, whether you're a player, whether you're a coach. There's going to be good times, bad times. You got to persevere. You got to be positive with yourself. You got to believe in yourself. You got to stick to the grind. You know, you got to take advantage of your opportunities. You know, you're working hard, you're grinding in that video room. You may think, oh boy, these are just the dog days. It's never going to end. It's never. Hey, you've got it. Every day is an interview. Every single day you're working is an interview, and you got to take advantage of it when your opportunity comes, and just believe in yourself and keep going at it.
Oh, I love to hear you say every day is a job interview, because you never know, Coach, what eyes are on you, or something that maybe you say that may, you know, stick with somebody. And, you know, to have you share that, you know, is powerful, and it's a lot of insight. And, you know, we always talk about, cliches. You know, cliches become cliches because they're just true. And let's be honest, if you can persevere and you can stay positive, I mean, let's talk about it. You know, you've mentioned that day-to-day grind. And, hey, come February, you know, late January, February, where you're already, you know, 40-some games into the season, just to have that coach who's going to be positive, you know, be a constant push, be energetic, lead by example, that will go a long way within a franchise or within an organization. So as a coach, always staying positive, you know, believing in your message, you know, selling, you know, and developing and helping the players get better. That's going to go a long way, not only on the court, but off the court. And thank you so much for sharing that, Coach.
You got it, Scott. Appreciate it again.
Well, listen, I know you're staying up late. Hopefully you're going to have some time with the family tonight. Thank you so much for being a part of the show. God bless you, buddy, and I look forward to catching up with you real soon, my man.
Okay. Take care, guys.
All right, thanks,
thanks.
Bonnie. Bob, once again, we have knocked it out of the park, haven't we?
Man, you and the guests have knocked it out of the park.
Oh, no.
I need to apologize to Monty. I had a wrong graphic up for about a minute.
Okay.
So I apologize to him for that.
Okay.
But I got that corrected. So.
Oh well, hey, no, listen, it's been crazy. We're actually going to do our last segment of season 1 next week. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And we're going to try to get it started at 7:30. I've got a couple guys who I'm really yeah, knock on wood. I've got a couple guys that we want to end the season with. Again, want to thank everybody for their continued viewership, the loyalty, staying and being a part of the Coach Scott Field Show. Every week we are blessed to have some great people that come on the show weekly to share their insight. And Bob, again, Coach Glover coming in tonight, to have a guy that has spent time in the NBA, WNBA, D-League, high school, and now at the college level. He talked about the passion. You have to love that. And you got Monty Mathis here with the Dallas Mavericks, who's been in the grind for 9 seasons now in the NBA. And I've been able to sit back and watch his development. And he is just an outstanding person, first class. And, you're talking about a guy who works for an amazing owner, a league MVP with the Dallas Maverick franchise. What great stuff, and we're lucky to have him. We say that every week, but when we sit back and I sit there and I listen to the messages and the content, and I'm just like, this is just great stuff. I know we say it, but what great messages we bring.
Well, and there's kind of a recurring thing that keeps coming up. We had Ronnie Price a few weeks ago, and he said basically the same things that Monty said as far as, he realizes, hey, I'm a role player. My job is, when I go in there, I'm going to put pressure on the guy that the starter is playing against, so I wear him down and get him tired. And, Monty basically said the exact same thing. So it just kind of rings true. And I love the advice that they give, not just for players, but for those that may never,
That's right.
The vast majority of kids who play basketball will never make it to that level.
That percentage,
I
mean, let's bring that to reality. That percentage of people is so minute because it's so small. I mean, there's thousands and thousands of high school players every year, and only a small percentage of them get to go on to the next level, play the college level.
Right.
And then a minute small percentage of them get to go on and play professionally, whether it be in FIBA internationally or at that pinnacle, which is the NBA, or that next step down, the D-League, trying to get to that level. So, again, the messages that are taught are parallel with life, whether it be business or just us as individual, as people, staying positive and persevering and knowing there's going to be days where things aren't going to go our way, but it's how we deal with it and how we cope with it that will really set us apart. So it's about being good people, good husbands, good role models. If you're coaches, be a good example. Teach, lead from the heart, like Coach Glover talked about. And it's the same thing as a father. Lead from your heart and with passion and give guidance and direction. You're never going to go wrong with that.
Nope.
You never will. Nope. So I love the messages that are shared, and a little bit bittersweet to have our last show next week.
Yeah, it will be. I mean, we're
growing.
Well, for the last show of season 1.
There you go.
And then season 2, we'll be working on getting that ready to roll that out.
Yeah.
And looking forward to that and doing some new things. We might tweak a couple things with the set.
Oh my!
I don't know.
I don't know how we can do better than what we're doing. You're doing an amazing job.
I've got some ideas.
Oh my goodness! We're gonna have the pyramids in Egypt behind me or something.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Oh, goodness. Well, I'm really excited. And again, I want to say thank you to our viewers. Again, thank you to Ecuador, Philippines, New Guinea. I couldn't believe it. A hit from New Guinea. And then India. How exciting is that? Because I'm hearing that there's millions of basketball players, just like China, who are registering in to be in these leagues where there's development out there. So thank you, India, for being a part of it. Kevin Love, good luck on your next journey, going to the Cleveland Cavaliers, playing with LeBron. I think that was kind of always in the work, and LeBron knew that before he was ever going to go there. Let's just be honest.
It was one of those things. It was the buzz for quite a while. Will he go? Will he stay? Where will he end up? And a lot of things were held up for other players because of that.
Waiting on that transaction. And now you have to look at Andrew Wiggins, who was the #1 pick in the draft. There haven't been a lot of #1 draft picks who were traded off to other teams that have had to deal with that. So hopefully Andrew Wiggins is going to be strong enough mentally to realize, hey, you know what? He had to learn a valuable lesson that it's a business. And, yeah, he's still a great player. He's still the #1 pick. That'll never be taken away from him. And here he is. He's going to now start his career in Minnesota, where, you know what, it could be productive. And I've seen reports where he was like, he's kind of looking forward to that because now he can develop at his pace and not be under a microscope and be playing with LeBron James. Now, he may not get as many wins the first couple years as playing with LeBron James, but for his personal development and growth as a player, you know what? Let's be patient with these #1 picks, because how many times are we going to get a #1 pick who's going to be the phenomenal franchise game changer? It doesn't happen. These players are coming out of college after 1 year. They're 19 years old, and the fans need to remember they're young. Even when LeBron took off and went to Miami, that was basically like him leaving for college, growing up as a man, and now coming back to Akron to his home after, being somewhere for a college career. That's, I mean, he's older. Absolutely. He's 28, 29, but that's the growth and development that it took. Michael Jordan didn't win a championship his first year. It took him multiple years before he won his first championship. So we as fans, we need to kind of forget the hype for a minute and remember that these young men are 18, 19, 20 years old going into a league where they played 30 games in college, all of a sudden being played 82 games. It went from a sprint to a marathon.
Yeah, almost triple the amount of games almost,
And it's harder on the body, and they got to learn how to, you heard Coach Monty talk about how they got to take care of themselves when they can go blow off some steam and what they can do to, take care of their bodies, because their bodies are assets. So great lessons, great show. I don't want to be too long-winded tonight. We're already running about 9:30, but it's been a great show. We thank you for your loyalty. Any last words? Happy birthday to the family.
To Mallory, my little granddaughter Mallory had her 8th birthday today. And
8 years old.
Had a little bit of fun before the show, and then I had to go do some other business and then run here. So we're just glad we finally got here.
Well, happy birthday, Mallory.
Mallory,
happy 8th birthday to you. It's probably a little late for you to be staying up watching today, but hopefully you'll go back and watch the show and you'll hear your name tomorrow. So happy birthday to her. Can't wait to hear even more about the drone and the things that you got going on there with Brave Haven. And unbelievable. I mean, these rains that are coming in, hopefully that's keeping the fires down a little bit. So, being a fire marshal out there where you're at, hopefully it's been a little bit better summer for you.
It helps on one hand, but the fires that we've had earlier in the year, it creates problems with the mudslides and the flooding. So it's just a different set of problems for somebody else. Fortunately, we don't deal necessarily with the floods. We deal with parts of it, but not the cleanup necessarily.
We here in the Man Cave with the Coach Scott Field Show, we've got our 9-to-5s that we got to take care of, just like you guys, and we appreciate you taking time from your busy schedule after your 9-to-5 to come in and view the Coach Scott Field Show right here from Brave Haven Studios. Again, thanks to our sponsors, MetLife, Nick Fitzgerald. Get a hold of him, 801-999-3773. The financial advisor, Salon Dante, 801-572-8812. And again, Brave Haven Studios right here. Brave Haven Media, 801-738-8697, and TeamJMP.com. I spit those out there quick, so if you was trying to put up graphics as I was spitting them out there.
I didn't even try to keep up, because I know I'd screw it up. The way things are going, I'd screw it up today, so I didn't even try.
You're the best, and you've done a great job. Glad you got in here safe tonight. Apologize to the viewers that we got started a little bit late, but thank you to our guest who
awesome.
hung in there with us, and we were running a little bit late, and I know Coach Monty actually sent me a text, saying, hey, are we still on? During the show, I wasn't able to text you back, but Coach Monty, thank you, because I know you're with family. You're Central Time. You're an even hour in front of us. So, gosh, again, great show, but I'm excited about the coaches that we've got coming on here for next week. I don't want to give out too much, but it's going to be a pretty good show. I'm really excited to close the season out with these guys. A wealth of basketball knowledge, and I hope one of them will be a live in studio guest for us next week.
Oh wow, that'd be awesome.
I kind of put some feelers out there, and hopefully he's able to work his schedule. I will just say this: a lot of people here locally know him, and he has just a great guy. That's all I'm going to share. A little teaser for you, a little cliffhanger. But hopefully he can come and be a part of our show. Live in studio guest next week for us. That would be the 18th. Is Monday the 18th?
Monday is the 18th, yes.
August 18th. Wrap up season 1.
Holy moly.
Well, be looking on the social media for the updates on who these guests are going to be. As soon as I can get a commitment, I will get it out there quicker, because I know a lot of you would like to end up the season. A lot of you are going back to school. You guys heading off to college. You guys heading off to high school. Be safe, be smart, make good decisions. Don't get into a rush. Don't text and drive. I just had to put that out there. Just got to put that out there.
Right.
All right. God bless you. Good night, and we'll see you next week on the 18th.